Okay, closing out. Adding some piano. Adding some effects. Okay, I'm adding one called Skyline Piano. And I'm going to drop that right under here in measure 13. And because of that, I want to drag these out just a little bit more. Now, we talk about that tool palette. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. We talk about the tool palette. Well, one of those tools you can get is called the Marquee tool. And try to spell that, by the way. Marquee tool, Marquee. I feel like Q would have been a good one on that one. Because, I mean, how many words have the letter Q in them? That's a rhetorical question. So the Marquee tool will let you select an area. In this case, that's actually not what I want to do. I want to select this area right here and pull down across that track. That lets me select an area that I've already created these loops and they go across. Well, I'm going to hit the backspace delete key. I'm going to call it the delete key because I'm an Apple user through and through. So when you hit that delete key, that's going to clear that out of there. So that's going to give your piano a spot to sit there. Okay, now we're going to get into the mixer. X will pop open the mixer, and we're going to add some plugins. So check out each track. By the time we're here, actually, while we're here, I should say, I'll turn that off there. I'm going to go ahead and take just a second to go ahead and name these. What's this one called? Good line, fine line. You know, next time I open this, I don't want to try to sit around and wonder. Try to wonder what exactly it was that I was dealing with there. So, by the way, I've learned to spell arpeggio since the last one. I'm going to name this piano. So I open this up. I want it to make sense. I want to look at it and I want to be able to hit the ground running. So what I'm going to do now that I've got those nice and organized is I'm going to find this bass track, click on that so I highlight it, and then this is the audio effects line. And you see as you hover your mouse, you get a little arrow, a little drop down menu. I'm going to go to Amps and Pedals, Bass Amp Designer, Stereo. And then I'm going to solo this out and kind of have a listen to it. I'm going to scroll up there a little bit, click on Solo. And as I listen, I'm going to turn it off and back on again. So let's go first with off. Okay, and I could sit here and get into that a little bit more and maybe check out some of those presets, but I'm just going to leave that the way it is. Then I'm going to get into the piano track and I'm going to add Reverb, Space Designer, Stereo. And from here we're going to get into the factory defaults. Medium spaces, rooms, how about piano warmth? Okay, we could do the same thing with that. Unsolo that, solo the piano. So we could listen to the piano without it. Okay, so we're going to leave that on. If we wanted to loop that a few times, we could click up here right above this measurement bar, click and drag, and create ourselves a loop region that we can turn off and on by clicking that, or by hitting the letter C. Turns that cycle region off and on. So the four things that we can control in a mix, well, we've already messed with a little bit of one of them. We can give our sound a little bit more space, a little bit more depth. So we can get that by adding reverb or chorus, different effects like that. Delays, that can give you more depth of sound. Those are the complicated ones. EQ is also a little tricky. We'll start to develop that as we get more into this. The other things are easy. We can start to adjust the volume level. Well, I don't want these arpeggios quite so loud. So if I click and drag across two tracks like this, click and hold and drag, I can pull down the volume level simultaneously on both of those at the same time. If I click off of that and I want to adjust the pan left and right, so I'm going to put that one over in the left speaker. Maybe I want it all the way over. Maybe I want it most of the way over. I want to balance this other one out in the right speaker. So now as I listen to that, they're going to go back and forth from the left to the right. Okay, so we're getting real close to exporting this thing. I'm going to hit X to pop the mixer closed. I'm going to listen to just a little bit of it. And fade that down for just a second. What I'm going to do now is actually kind of a bonus, okay? X to bring that mixer back up again. And then find your master track and then right click on it or control click on it. Or we're actually going to hit Control T. What that's going to do is that's going to make us a track up here where we're used to working with tracks. I'm going to drag it down. Well, I'm going to drag it up to the top. Why don't I? Because this is the most important. I'm going to drag it up to the top. Get one more notch up there. Okay, I'm going to hide that mixer now that I have the track for my master control. And I'm going to hit the letter A to bring up my automation. What this does is this lets you control volumes, basically anything you can imagine you can access from this automation area. So now that I've got this master track, I can click a dot here. Oops, I still have my marquee tool. Double tap that T. I can click to make a dot here. That's called a node. And then I can click to make another one. And then I can pull down towards the end. So I want that to fade out at the end. Pro tip for those of us who might be looking for some extra tips, you can hit Control Shift. So I'm holding down Control Shift, and then look at that. I can adjust the curve of that. So that's a bonus pro tip. A couple of pro tips in here. Okay, listen to it fade. There you go.